Have you ever confronted the puppet strings of your own creation, like Pinocchio yearning for real boyhood only to discover his maker's vengeful heart, where identity fractures under the weight of manipulated purpose, sacrificing self for a flicker of hope against despair's puppeteering grasp? In episode 21 of To Be Hero X, released on August 24, 2025, we descend into such a marionette's nightmare, the air heavy with the synthetic hum of fabricated heroes, the bitter aftertaste of betrayed admiration coating your throat, and the ethereal glow of trust values flickering like distant stars in a manufactured sky. This pivotal installment, igniting the Dragon Boy arc amid the series' ongoing saga of faith-fueled superheroes and hidden agencies, resonates like the tragic revelations in Plato's cave, where shadows of truth upend perceived realities, compelling souls to break free or shatter. I personally was struck by its chilling intimacy, drawing you into the sterile glow of agency offices and the raw fury of street brawls, heartstrings taut with the pull of unseen masters, suspense threading like invisible wires. What if your hero's smile concealed a god's wrath? Imagine the cold lake's embrace chilling your bones as a boy's rage erupts, curiosity puppeteering you forward. You're not bestowed the strings. You're tangled in them, questioning if your own crafted selves could unravel to reveal divinity or damnation. Episode 21, Nurturing God, erupts from the lingering shadows of prior episodes, where Nice's ascent as a hero clashed with the enigmatic machinations of agencies like E-Soul, now pivoting into a new arc that mirrors the mythic forging of gods. In ancient epics like the Enuma Elish, where creation births both order and chaos from primordial struggles, key events swirl around a delinquent's raw confrontation gaining ethereal power, a mentor's ambitious scheme to elevate him, and a protagonist's shattering self-discovery amid inspirational icons, blending brutal fights with introspective revelations that propel the narrative toward cosmic reckonings. Sense the icy plunge of a lake's depths numbing your limbs, the crack of fists echoing like thunder in a coliseum's roar, as transitions bridge personal heroics to divine ambitions, yet suspend enigmas. Does nurturing a god heal a broken world or fracture it further? This purposeful forge ignites relentless intrigue, evoking the alchemical quests of Hermes Trismegistus, where base elements transmute into gold or poison, compelling you to witness the blaze and unravel if ascensions uplift or unmake. Not the god nurtured, but the hunger to behold his birth, testing your faith in forged destinies. Episode 21 boldly advances the main narrative by inaugurating the Dragon Boy arc, shifting from Nice's individual hero journey to a broader exploration of godlike ascension through trust values, heightening the stakes in a world where faith literally empowers. Key revelations dissect the origins of heroes as puppets of vengeful schemes, while plot twists hinge on unexpected alliances and a climactic brawl that exposes vulnerabilities in seemingly invincible icons, balanced by a cliffhanger poised on the brink of intervention with ominous particles. Pacing strikes a deliberate rhythm. Contemplative builds and office intrigues crescendo into visceral action, achieving dramatic equilibrium that sustains tension without haste, though it echoes the series' episodic style in layered setups. As an original donghua with no manga, light novel, or web novel source material, confirmed via series wiki and production notes from Bilibili and Aniplex, ambiguities arise from intentional narrative withholding for future arcs, addressing fan-inquired, cloudy aspects, such as the vague significance of the chain taunt, debated on Reddit forums for its emotional trigger without backstory, and fear particles mechanics, confusing in their sudden introduction as a potential game-changer. We note the series creator Lee Howleen's interviews, e.g., on Bilibili, framing these as seeds for multi-episode payoff. The chain symbolizes familial leverage, akin to Smile's hinted loneliness, while fear particles tie to earlier agency experiments, demystifying them as antitrust manipulators rather than deus ex machina, enriching the animated segment with thematic continuity on manufactured divinity, transforming hazy hints into profound setups for existential clashes. Nice's psyche unravels with heartbreaking depth, his hidden wounds, forged from artificial origins and borrowed inspirations, motivating a quest for authenticity that surprises in horrified defiance against his creator, his choices consistent in earnest heroism yet transformative in confronting puppetry. Dragon Boy emerges as a raw force, motivations rooted in world-hating delinquency yielding surprising alignment with mentorship, dialogue shifting from brutish snarls to calculated ambition, consistent but transformative in embracing godhood. Hero Smile reveals layered vulnerabilities, his eternal ranking masking isolation wounds, surprising in drunken confessions that mark growth from icon to relatable figure, while Mr. Rock's scheming exposes motivations of vicarious conquest, consistent in cunning, nurturing manifests as a divine delusion, questioning. In a faith-powered realm, does wielding power to create gods corrupt morality, sacrificing humanity for illusory hope against despair's void? Dragon Boy's ascent embodies embodies survival's brutality, like Frankenstein's monster rebelling against his maker, his struggles pitting raw rage against engineered purpose. Sacrifice throbs in Nice identity crisis, probing hope. Does betraying an idol affirm self, or amplify emptiness? Despair counters in Smile's loneliness, manifesting philosophical echoes on creation's ethics, where gods born from vengeance echo Nietzsche's Overman, challenging if transcendence uplifts or unchains chaos. New lore on nurturing gods enriches the universe, introducing trust value as a malleable divinity tool tied to agency plots, complicating hero rankings with historical nods to Isolde's origins, adding strategic depth without convolution, heightening perils in this belief-driven society. The script resonates with poetic sharpness, lines like mentor vows amid brawls carrying foreshadowing gravity, impactful and lingering like the prophetic whispers in Oedipus's tragedy, sharp, avoiding cliches through ironic twists on heroism. Imagine uttering them in a sterile office's hush, words echoing like cracking ice, tasting of cold ambition, foreshadowing fractures that haunt post-credits. They stoke suspense. Does that taunting challenge shatter idols or forge them? You're enveloped in the cadence, curiosity swelling like rising trust, drawn to decipher if vows nurture or negate. Not sold the verse, but seduced by its divine whisper, B-Dream's art direction captivates in fluid brawls, symbolism in azure trust glows clashing with crimson rage, lighting casting elongated shadows that evoke puppet strings, not mere flair but metaphors for manipulated fates where stillness in flashbacks amplifies introspection, movement in punches conveying liberated fury that shapes impact as beauty born from fractured divinity, camera angles plunge into low sweeps for intimate plunges, compositions framing mentors against protégés like Rembrandt's shadowed portraits, editing rhythm staccato, swift cuts mirroring power surges that amplify tension, reflecting emotions akin to Hitchcock's psychological spirals in deceptive calm. The OST haunts as ethereal chorus, motifs of dissonant strings crescendoing in revelations, searing into memory like a god's lament. Silence dominates contemplative hushes, louder than clashes, elevating voids to profound echoes reminiscent of historical oracles in silent temples. Nice See delivers with trembling timbre, embodying fractured innocence. Dragon Boy's performer infuses guttural intensity, capturing delinquent fire. Standouts like Smile's warm yet weary delivery personify iconic weariness, intensity forging inspirational depth. This episode scorched me with its puppeteer's anguish, scars from forged identities and wonder at defiant gods, evoking the tragic awakenings in Blade Runner's replicants questioning their makers. It forged a collision of manipulated destinies, a breaking point shattering illusions and reshaping faiths irrevocably. I tasted the cold lake's bitterness on my lips, heard the fading echo of a mentor's vow, moments that sear, probing eternal queries. When does nurturing a hero birth a god, or beget a monster? Picture the office's glow blinding you, curiosity igniting like divine spark. Did revelations uplift, or unmake? The resonance deepens, as if your strings tighten, compelling you to confront the puppeteer's hand. Reverse reading reframes the episode's deliberate opacity, critiqued as confusing in particle mechanics, as thematic choice mirroring faith's ambiguity, enhancing philosophical immersion. Pacing's contemplative lulls risk stagnation, yet serve stylistic introspection. Complexity and agency plots borders overwhelming, but appreciation balances with its role in deepening existential layers. Measured critique notes occasional visual abstraction diluting fights, amid strengths in emotional forge. Episode 21 triumphs in divine poetry and revelatory depth, its weaknesses in ambiguity minor against narrative crucible. Have you ever glimpsed the hollow core of your own idolization, like Narcissus drowning in his reflection, where the pursuit of perfection demands sacrificing your humanity, fracturing identity in a desperate grasp for hope amid the abyss of self-inflicted despair? In episode 22 of To Be Hero X, released on August 31, 2025, we plunge into such a shattering mirror, the air vibrating with the dissonant hum of crumbling trust values, the acrid bitterness of regret choking your breath, and the spectral glow of heroic facades flickering like dying embers in a forsaken void. This climactic turn in the Dragon Boy arc, building on the puppeteer's revelations of manipulated destinies, echoes the tragic unmaskings in Oedipus Rex, where self-discovery unleashes irreversible ruin, compelling kings to blind themselves to unbearable truths. I personally was struck by its visceral unraveling, enveloping you in the cold sterility of agency shadows and the raw fury of betrayed ideals, heart fracturing with each echoed confession, suspense mirroring like infinite reflections. What if your hero's smile concealed a god's fatal flaw? Imagine the mirror's cracked spiderwebbing under your gaze, curiosity devouring you like a siren's call. You're not granted the reflection, you're shattered by it, questioning if your own idealized selves could fracture to reveal redemption or oblivion. Episode 22, The Last glass smile, shatters forth from the prior episode's divine nurturing, where Dragon Boy's ascension clashed with nice puppet-like revelations, now catapulting into a vortex of guilt and confrontation that mirrors the soul-bearing Confessions in Dante's Inferno, where sinners descend through circles of torment to face their makers. Key events orbit a protagonist's inner turmoil manifesting in hallucinatory visions, a mentor's ambitious schemes unraveling under scrutiny, and explosive clashes that expose the fragility of heroic icons, weaving personal redemption with cosmic stakes. Feel the chill of a sterile room's fluorescent glare piercing your eyes, the thunderous crack of powers colliding like gladiators in Rome's Colosseum, as transitions propel the arc from forged gods to fractured selves, yet veil enigmas. Does unveiling a hero's truth heal wounds or widen them? This focused descent ignites insatiable wonder, evoking the hermeneutic quests of biblical scholars deciphering apocalyptic scrolls, luring you to plummet deeper and discern if smiles conceal salvation or seal doom. Not the mirror cracked, but the compulsion to peer into its depths, testing your endurance against reflective abysses. Episode 22 catapults the narrative toward a shattering apex in the Dragon Boy arc, intensifying the exploration of trust values as tools of divine manipulation by delving into Nice psyche, where key revelations unpack the hero smile incident as a tragic catalyst for guilt-ridden cycles, culminating in plot twists that redefine alliances and expose vulnerabilities in seemingly omnipotent figures. Pacing orchestrates a masterful descent. Introspective hallucinations build to explosive confrontations, balancing emotional depth with action surges for dramatic equilibrium, though it occasionally mirrors the series' deliberate opacity in layered psyche dives. A gripping cliffhanger dangles on the precipice of intervention, hinting at broader cosmic resets. As an original donghua without manga, light novel, or web novel adaptations, verified through production notes from Bilibili and Aniplex, emphasizing Li Haolin's standalone vision, ambiguities stem from narrative design rather than source fidelity. Addressing fan-inquired, cloudy aspects, such as the hallucinatory sequence's symbolic intent, debated on forums like Reddit for their dreamlike ambiguity, and the Smile incident's timeline, confusing in its retroactive impact. We note the series' episodic structure intentionally layers these for thematic resonance. The hallucinations symbolize puppetry's psychological toll, akin to prior agency manipulations, while the incident rooted in Smile's eternal ranking serves as a backstory anchor, demystifying it as a sacrificial pivot rather than plot hole. This enriches the animated segment, transforming vague surrealism into a profound commentary on faith's fragility, without external source material to draw from. Nice psyche fractures with poignant vulnerability, his hidden wounds, scars from artificial heroism and betrayed idols, motivating a spiral of self-doubt that surprises in raw confessions. His choices consistent in earnest pursuit yet transformative in embracing his trash. Origins for authentic growth. Dragon Boy blazes as a counterforce, motivations of world-defying ambition yielding surprising humility under humiliation, dialogue shifting from arrogant roars to reflective murmurs, consistent but transformative in questioning godhood's cost. Hero Smile unfolds as a tragic icon, his eternal facade masking wounds of isolation, surprising in revelations that mark growth from untouchable to empathetic, while mentors like Mr. Rock expose manipulative motivations, consistent in cunning yet transformative in facing consequences. Fractured identity manifests as a divine curse, questioning. In a world where trust births gods, does power through admiration sacrifice morality for survival, or ignite hope from despair's ruins? Nice hallucinations embody existential unraveling, like Descartes doubting reality in his meditations, his struggles pitting self-worth against engineered purpose. Sacrifice throbs in Smile's revelations, probing hope. Does enduring eternity affirm resilience or amplify void? Despair counters in Dragon Boy's hubris, manifesting philosophical echoes on creation's hubris, where nurturing gods echoes Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, challenging if transcendence liberates or locks in eternal torment. New lore on the Hero Smile incident enriches the universe, revealing it as a foundational event in trust value history tied to agency origins, complicating hero rankings with cultural echoes of sacrificial myths, adding historical weight without overload, heightening stakes in this faith-forged realm. The script echoes with poetic resonance, lines like shattered vows amid visions carrying foreshadowing depth, impactful and lingering like the Delphic oracle's riddles that both enlighten and ensnare, sharp, subverting clichés through surreal integrations. Imagine whispering them in a hallucinatory haze, words fracturing like glass shards, tasting of ethereal regret, foreshadowing resets that haunt beyond credits. They ignite suspense. Does that confessional whisper shatter chains or seal them? You're immersed in the echo, curiosity swelling like rising divinity, lured to parse if utterances redeem or unravel. Not not sold the lament, but enchanted by its fractured hymn. B Dream's art direction mesmerizes in hallucinatory sequences, fluidity in psyche dives where colors bleed from vibrant trust blues to ashen voids, lighting casting distorted shadows that symbolize fractured selves, not mere surrealism but metaphors for puppet identities where stillness in revelations amplifies inner voids, movement in clashes conveying liberated chaos that shapes impact as beauty scarred by divine forgery. Camera angles distort into warped perspectives for immersive disorientation, compositions framing figures against mirrored illusions like Dali's melting clocks, editing rhythms fragmented, abrupt cuts mirroring mental breaks that amplify tension, reflecting emotions akin to Lynch's dreamlike mazes in psychological unravelings. The OST haunts as a fractured symphony, motifs of echoing choruses, crescendoing in confessions, searing into memory like a lament's refrain. Silence overwhelms in visionary pauses, louder than roars, elevating truths to profound voids reminiscent of historical meditations in silent cloisters. Nice Cu channels raw tremor, timbre splintering in self-doubt to embody a soul unmade. Dragon Boy's performer unleashes guttural fury, capturing humiliated fire. Standouts like Smile's weary delivery personify iconic fracture, intensity forging poignant divinity. This episode splintered me with its puppeteer's torment, scars from fractured idols and wonder at defiant truths, akin to the soul-shattering awakenings in the Matrix where illusions crumble to reveal controlling hands. It unleashed a collision of forged destinies, a breaking point shattering veils and reshaping faiths irrevocably. I tasted the bitterness of ethereal regrets on my tongue, heard the fading echo of a hero's last smile, moments that haunt, probing eternal queries. When does unveiling your creation redeem the self, or reduce it to divine debris? Picture the visionary haze clouding your sight, curiosity coiling like puppet strings. Did truths liberate or lock in eternal loops? The fracture deepens your engagement, as if your reflections waver, compelling you to face the mirror's core. Reverse reading reframes the episode's surreal opacity, critiqued as disorienting, as deliberate thematic mimicry of fractured psyches, enhancing immersion. Pacing's hallucinatory lulls risk meandering, yet serve stylistic introspection. Complexity in Revelations borders overwhelming, but appreciation balances with its role in deepening philosophical mirrors. Measured critique notes occasional auditory dissonance diluting impact, amid strengths in emotional shatter. Episode 22 triumphs in reflective what fractured self awaits your revelation?